for you?
Um, you really explained it. You know, I love my students. I love what I do.
Hmm.
And so not being able to see them face to face in person and, love on them, it's been really hard. The students at the beginning of this process, they were super confused. They were like, how long is this going to last? Um, am I going to see you again? And really at the beginning, we really didn't know.
Right.
So that teeter tottering at the beginning, we were in uncharted, territory. So it's been hard on, I would say, teachers, administration, students, and parents.
So for you parents who probably thinking the teachers happy they got an extended vacation, that ain't it. These teachers, there are some teachers who really care deeply
Yes.
about their students. So Tavi, you're kind of on another side of this, right? So kind of
I am.
explain what you do and kind of where you sit in all this because you have a really unique position in the district.
I do, and it has been extremely trying. I'm actually what you call a district strategist, where I strategize and support the teachers and the administrative staff, the principals, the deans, in creating excellence for their staff. And so, being in a supportive role, of course, we had to jump in and support our teachers. Distance learning is not something that they're accustomed to.
Right.
So, we're accustomed to seeing our babies on a daily basis, and interacting with them. So the distance learning thing was something that was extremely new. For some of us, it was uncomfortable. And even though, as the strategist, there are things that we push out like online platforms, not all teachers are receptive. So when we were forced to utilize these platforms, we had teachers, pulling their hair out, screaming, "Oh my God, I can't do this!" But we were there to support them.
Yes.
It's been our job to support them with lesson planning. We're still creating opportunities for professional development for the teachers
Wow.
so that they can, uh, in turn, pass that on to their students. We're giving them, providing them with all of the tools that they need as far as the online platforms that we're using, how to conduct Zoom meetings with their students, activities that they can do to keep the students engaged. I mean, I'm a support staff, so.
So that's interesting and it's so needed because I think the message that really needs to come across in this is that just like this is very new to the parents, it's equally new and trying for the districts and the teachers and the support staffs. As all of this is going on, what you're discovering is everybody's kind of trying this
Right.
out together at the same time, which is really part of the reason why we wanted to do this episode because I think depending on the perspective, right, from the parent perspective,
Absolutely.
it's like, well, why ain't this going as smooth as I wanted to, or what's
Yeah.
going on with this, or what's going on with that, and then on the district side, the teacher side, the support staff side, it's like, we're trying to figure this out too, and still, like, I
Absolutely.
love what you said, still trying to do it and provide it in an excellent way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
it calls for everybody to work together. So in that, I guess I ask both of y'all to speak to that. What does partnership look like between parents, teacher, district right now? Or what is the ideal
Right.
partnership? Because I mean, we all know this, and thank God for you parents who are super involved and
Yeah.
engaged. But we also know that there's a reality that before this, there was a large number of parents who were not involved. Let me tell y'all real quick. So this is the thing. Some of y'all know that my mom is now
An
president of the
educator.
school board, and she's an educator. Do y'all know how she got an education? Her background is not in education.
That's
Her
most of us.
background,
Right.
mom was working with the Department of Health and Human Services, doing some counseling, some things like that. Y'all want to know how she ended up being a teacher? She was at my elementary school so much that the principal said, "Do you want to teach?"
Wow.
My mama was at the school so much, she got a teacher job, fam. This is the type of
working your way.
involvement, you know what I mean, that my mom had in the district. And there was a time when parents were just like, whatever, you know what I mean? Then, we're going to be honest, a lot of parents kind of fell off, whatever,
Yeah.
I'm sending them to school, they'll figure it out, whatever. But this has kind of forced us to really rethink partnership.
Absolutely.
So what do you need from your parents?
That's a great question. The same effort. I need the same effort from parents and students. Communication, that is key during online distance learning. We need to communicate. Teachers, especially in our district, we're very open with communication, email, texting. We have, Google Voice numbers. We really need parents to communicate when they need something. We don't want them stressing, some of the things that they're teaching or helping teaching, they haven't worked on in many moons, since they were in grade school, and they're finding that they're struggling. And so we, as teachers and educators, we don't want parents to struggle. We want you to ask questions so that we can help. And so one of the things that we need is we need those parents who were active, and maybe some of those parents who fell back and said,
They've got it.
they got it. Still, communicate with us. There's been a lot of parents who were hands off, and now they're more hands on. And so that's a blessing. But we just really need parents to communicate, especially when they're struggling, so that we can help. We are not on summer vacation yet. It is still in session. And so,
Because I'm still working.
listen, and for some teachers, it's harder. We're working more than we did when we were in the classroom. So if we could just communicate their needs, their wants, and their frustrations that way, and answer the emails. Answer the emails and just let us know that you're struggling and what we can help you with.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about on this side, on the support staff, or what else can?
Well, being that we don't have a lot of interaction with parents, my role really is to support the teachers, but it is difficult in supporting teachers when they are spending countless hours on Zoom calls available for the students for assisting them, and no students show up. So you have throughout the day, Monday through Friday, teachers are available and they're sitting there for an hour at a time, waiting for their students to come on and say, hey, this is my meeting time. This is when we're having class. I need you to join us so that I can explain the lessons that I'm pushing out to you, so that I can check on you, your mental and your emotional status right now. Let me service you, the whole child, with the means that I have available, but no students are showing up.
Wow.
So the teachers are frustrated, and hands are tied because you can only email so much, you can only call so many times, and let's face it, this could possibly be our new norm. Who says we'll go back into an actual building in the fall?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to think about. So one of the things, I have a friend who posted a status on Facebook a little while ago and was talking about, all right, parents, what's the name of your school at the house? You know what I mean? So I joke with Pastor Purvey. I know he got the twins, and he's taking the call on his homeschool, Purvey Preparatory, and he got Layla and
so
Jay.
cute.
It's cute, right? So I saw a bunch of I saw some cute names like that, and then I saw some like, yo, I ain't got it. They destined to have to go get their GED and school it with me. So you as a teacher, right? You are gifted and passionate to teach. That's what you do.
Yes.
Some of these parents are like, yo,
Listen,
not
you're
my
on your
thing.
own.
do you, boo?
So I'm trying to figure out, number one, before I even get into the ins and outs of the content and the lessons, how do I keep these kids motivated for the next month? That was one of the questions that just got submitted. How can I keep these kids motivated to finish? Cause shoot, I mean,
It's
Well,
hard.
tell them if they want to eat. No.
Listen.
that's the parent talking over
Right.
here.
Teachers like, no, no. We have 4 weeks left. I mean, if we can, you've made it this far. Let's
Absolutely.
just finish strong. The whole reason behind online distance learning is so that our students won't regress. Over the summer, proven fact, you're going to regress a little. You know, you're not tied to the schedule of school. You're not reading as much. You're not working with, math, science, social studies. So the regression happens in the summer. What we are trying to do, our goal is to keep that gap from getting wider. Right. And so it is very important that parents stay on your students, stay on your kids, and encourage them. Whatever it's per your child. Whatever encourages your child, do it so
Absolutely.
that they can finish. It's 4 weeks, literally. And if they can just push through, get through this summer, the end of the school year, this is not an ideal situation.
Right,
for anybody. I just posted today, I'm going to miss sending my students off to high school. It breaks my heart to not be able to verbally tell them, Miss Gaston's gonna miss you, and I'm just so proud of your progress. I push my students very hard because I'm passionate, right? But it's going to be very difficult ending the school year how we are, but we're ending it safely. So a student today, Miss Gaskin, we really aren't coming back. I really miss y'all. I said, babe, I miss you too, but for now, we're gonna see each other through Zoom. We're going to make the best of this situation to keep you safe. So parents, stay encouraging your students to finish, and then we'll see what this end is going to be. Hopefully it's going to be during this, summer, and we go back in the fall. That's our, prayer. But
now the teacher said that. I'm gonna lean toward what the parents said. Listen, you got juice that your teacher don't have. You can check your kid.
Correct.
Hey, if you don't,
We
if you
cannot
don't
put
get in there
hands.
and do that work,
Absolutely.
never mind. I don't know
Yeah.
what school some of y'all was raised up in. In the house I grew up in. Never mind. Don't worry about it. You get in trouble for
I'm
that
old
these
school.
days.
Listen.
So, I have 3 adult children, and I can
chin checked.
just
Get in there and do
say, you have to be consistent, and you are the parent of your household. Students, when your children know they can push the boundaries, they will.
Because they be doing that at school.
Absolutely. But a lot of parents didn't understand what their child looked like
kind of
during
student
school
they were.
hours. But okay, that's
Uh-oh.
another.
We can go
I
there.
almost
This the
shouted like
checkpoint.
that, friend.
So you parents, you have to be consistent and you have to put your foot down.
Yeah.
Basically, check your child.
Some of y'all didn't know y'all kids got to school. My baby wouldn't act like that.
Yeah.
He gonna do his work.
Now they know.
Psych.
Right.
Right.
Anyway.
And I think keep them on a schedule. A lot of times, like my hour to meet with my students is from 10 to 11. 1, maybe 2 show up. They're asleep. They're late hours. They're thinking it's summer.
Yeah.
Up all night on the TikTok.
on the stay station.
You
Look, on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it's like if you would just keep a schedule, set up an area for them to work. Just like many of our parents are working from home. So just like you have your home
Workstations,
office.
absolutely.
do
Make
that
their area conducive for them
and make it
a
fun.
learning environment.
Make it fun.
Absolutely.
Mommy and daddy's doing the work. It's time for you to get your work. Where's your laptop? Where's your device?
Now, you know what's so interesting? Because one of the questions says, as a parent, how do you stay motivated to help your student when you're a student yourself? You're in
Listen.
school, you're doing distance learning, but there it is. We all got to work together, so
Absolutely.
let's work together.
And
Let's
when
make this a
when
bonding
you
experience.
want what's best for your child,
That's right.
that's it. When you want success and excellence for your child, then that's motivation enough to say, hey, this is my role.
For sure.
This is what I'm obligated to do.
Yeah.
So even so, before you break open your school books.
Gotta get my child ready
absolutely.
to go. And you know, it's interesting that you said stay on schedule. If y'all have been tuning in to all these checkpoints with Dr. Katie, when we talked about mental and emotional health, with Maya last week, Maya Johnson, we talked about physical health, and now we're talking about education. Have you noticed the theme that's been brought up in every area? Get a schedule.
Get a schedule.
Have a plan for the day for you and for your children.
That's right.
Let's say this is what today looks like, and I'm gonna. That way, you can hold yourselves and your children accountable to what they're supposed to be doing
that's right.
during that time. That's what happens when they're at school. When they're at school, they're on a schedule. This is getting done, and this, you know, now, you know, it's just kind of approach like, well, whatever, we home all day. And in that, you find yourself getting sloppy and slipping up on some things. So that schedule is super important. Tavi, I'm going to ask you this because you brought it up. How would you encourage teachers right now? Right, your job is to support teachers, and what I'm discovering, I was talking to a teacher friend today that drove through to pick up communion, and she was just like, you know, this is hard. And I literally have a teacher friend of mine, I hope she's watching, who has been like, bro, I am struggling not to be depressed because I miss my kids, and this is really hard. Another teacher friend I talked to today, well, we talked about this like last week, was like, I'm about ready to go off on everybody, my boss, my direct reports, because it's like nobody's having grace and patience as we all try to navigate through this. So how would you encourage a teacher right now?
Well, as a support staff, I can only speak for me and my district. I know that we have gone above and beyond with supporting our teachers, providing them with preset lessons that say, hey, here you go.
Thank you.
Hand these to your students. You're welcome. But also, teachers are required, and I'm sure the same exists for all districts. Teachers are required to sit in on office hours or Zoom meetings. We sit in also. Have your admin available to you to support whatever need it is that you might come across. The administrative staff has a lot more control than what you think. They can encourage the teachers. It depends on how much you give them, how much you take away from them during this time of need. As far as the teachers missing their students, the rapport that the teacher and the student had prior to the pandemic plays a big part in the students that you have to join you on your office hours. If you were not a teacher that student felt loved by, then they're probably not going to reach out.
Right.
They've checked out. But like Ms. Gaskin said, she had a student today that said, how did she say it? She was probably on your office hours.
She was.
And she's in tune
Yeah.
because of the rapport that was already established. So if you did not make that connection in the first 3 quarters of school, hopefully it's not too late, but reach out to your students as much as possible.
Yeah. I think you really have to think outside of the box. I saw on Facebook teachers have been, and some of my cousins in Midland, he's an athletic director, and so they miss their teams, they miss students. I've seen them, they had like a little parade where they drove by neighborhoods. I mean, in Midland, you could do that. But they drove by the houses just to say hello. And just to see their faces and to let the students know that we're still here for you. A lot of our students feel like when they don't see us, they lose, or love is lost, or we don't care. And I'm like, no, we really love you. We really do miss you. It's just these times, the times that we're in. And I'm trying to encourage my students by saying, this is not going to last forever.
Absolutely.
Yes, we're missing each other daily, but this is not going to last always.
Right.
And you have our information. I have students who text me on my Google Voice saying, hey, Ms. Gaskin, just checking on you.
Wow.
Like, are you okay? And I'm like, girl, you're going to make me cry. But again, it really depends on your support system. I think teachers really need to rely on other teachers. You are not, no man is an island. My mother used to say that all the time. Don't try to do this by yourself. You have, even if you don't have the support you think you do, maybe in your district, find you another teacher. Go get you a mentor teacher who can help you, navigate this time. It's hard. You can't do this by yourself.
For sure.
You're gonna need something to help
Zoom
you.
after hours.
Zoom,
And,
yeah.
vent or
Yes.
laugh, cry, whatever it is that you need to do to
Right.
support one another. We're on Zoom meetings with students all day. We're on Zoom meetings with the district, with other teachers during the day. Okay, Zoom in the evening.
Yeah.
Kick back. It's informal and support one another.
Yeah.
That's so good, and it's so important. One of the things that I hope, and I've kind of heard you all share it a little bit too, one of the things that I hope is that because of this pandemic, our passions for the things that our hands are to are reignited. So for teachers, maybe this makes you more passionate to be more than just a teacher and engage with your student. For parents, maybe it's reigniting you to be an active participant in your child's educational pursuits and efforts. It's interesting, you mentioned it today. I was on a Google Hangout with the coaches and football team from Cedar Hill. You know, I do FCA character coaching with Cedar Hill High School, and I got to hop on with like 60, people, coaches
Right.
and players, and the joy
Yeah.
that they had just to see their coaches and see each other and laugh and joke and listen in to it was really cool. So I think there is that, you can sense that love that they have for one another. So
Yeah.
even with students, I hope that this reignites their passion for
Yes.
their education.
Yes, because it is
for
so
going to
important.
school. You
It
know
is
what I
so
mean? Like,
important.
you see how important it is to have all these things. So how would you encourage a student right now? Because some of them are probably, you had your kids that were your projects, that they needed that extra push to feel like they could do it, and now they're not getting that extra push, or they feel like that love is lacking, or whatever the case may be. What do you say to them? How do you kind of give them that extra push right now?
Honestly, I do the same thing I did in the classroom. The only thing is that I'm not it's virtually. I'm encouraging them. I'm sending them messages we use Canvas. I send them weekly messages just to encourage them, not to tell them what assignments are due or you're missing assignments. It is Miss Gaskin checking on you, you as a student,
That's so
because
good.
you mind
The whole student.
You're the whole
Yeah,
student, and so
absolutely.
I would encourage a student to reach out to their friends, their peers. I mean, y'all still have each other's phone numbers.
Right.
FaceTime each other. And a lot of times, if I can't contact a student, I'll ask another student, hey, I know that's your friend. Can you tell her, jump on the call? And so a lot of times we'll jump on a three-way through another student because I couldn't get to that student.
Wow.
And so you have really got to think outside of the box. We have to use the technology that the Lord has given us, and for the good. Check on each other. Don't think you're by yourself struggling, because it's a lot. A lot of
Right.
students are struggling, and so open your mouth and say something.
Hello, and a lot of adults are struggling.
Yes.
A lot of adults are struggling. I have to encourage my staff daily. I've had to break it down to them. Understand, God is in control. We don't
Yeah.
have any control over this.
Right.
There is, we can follow our guidelines and we can do, but all of this is for His purpose and His glory.
Right.
So you sit still, calm down, relax,
Breathe.
breathe.
And see, that's what's so interesting, because that was my next question. How do you encourage the staff? But there it is. Like, this is such an interesting opportunity for all of us, no matter what field we're in, to make our professional field a mission field, because it's so
Absolutely.
different
Yes.
for everybody. So the fact that your encouragement is, y'all just gotta recognize that God's in control, and it's gonna work out. But one of the phrases I've used with our staff, and y'all might have heard me say before, is crisis can really birth creativity. It can really push you
I agree.
into thinking
I agree.
differently if you would stop fighting it, right? Because there are a lot of people, and you hear it in every
Amen.
sector, And I know it's happened in church. You can read articles about people who put their foot down. We gonna have church. I don't care what they say. We like our old way and educate whatever it is. It's like you can do that if you want to, but you'll continue to be left behind.
right.
You'll continue to be stuck. So to see this as this is an opportunity to make me think differently and come up with creative solutions to problems. After all, God is creative, right?
Listen.
Like he painted the stars in the sky. He created us with intention. So there's a creative solution to every problem, including in the area of education. I'm finna be real uncouth. Hold on, we live, so it is what it is. Pastor B, are there any more questions that I'm missing over here? I'm not watching y'all. I get them fed in. Okay, so y'all submit some questions. We got a little bit more time. Y'all, I did not realize. I thought I was going crazy. That these lights are changing colors. I was like, well, what is going on?
I hadn't even noticed.
Justin,
Really,
this is
right.
so fancy. Mega.
It's so nice.
Church of the Future, boy. I tell you what.
so blessed.
Mega ministry. God, my God.
We're so blessed. God is
Ooh,
good.
we. Boy, Church of the Future. I tell you what. Thank God for our creative team. So you brought up something interesting, Tavia. We don't know when this is going to end.
Yeah, we don't.
So as you're even looking toward and thinking through what does the next school year look like and how do these things look moving forward, what type of preparation and contingency plans or things, because I mean, after all, this is basically what, been like 6 weeks or will be ultimately, it's been like 6 weeks. So like, it's one thing to do it in a short window, but as you start to think about, okay, what if this is the long-term thing or will be more long-term than we plan for it to be, how have you had to think through that as you try to, project where education is moving forward?
So I made the comment, this may be our new norm. So under normal circumstances, at this time of year, we are wrapping up the school year, but the district strategists are planning summer professional developments. We are planning summer trainings. We are planning webinars and how we are going to prepare our teachers over the summer for what's coming in the fall. Well, we have no idea what fall is going to look like. So how do you plan? You think outside of the box. Okay, so this is where we are. We know that we're either going to be learning virtually in the fall. Okay, good. We're on it. If we are going back into an actual building, number one, will there be restrictions? I mean, you have to strategically plan for all of that. You have to set a game plan. And you can't wait until the day before. You have to plan months in advance. So at this point, yes, administration should be preparing for what is going to take place for their district now, not in May.
Can't be reactive.
Please be
Absolutely.
proactive.
And it's
You
really
have to.
good to hear that that districts are, and again, yes, crisis kind of birthed it, but again, just to know that within these school districts, this is not creeping up on people. Like, there are strategists, there are people who are thinking
Let
through
me
this
give
stuff.
you a key example. So we didn't mention this, but I work for Grand Prairie ISD. My district is 1-to-1 as far as technology is concerned, which means that over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, we've ramped up to provide every student with technology, whether it's an iPad or a Chromebook or whatever the case may be. So at the point that they said, okay, we're not going back to school, okay, we'll go virtual. Students have online access. They have the technology. Well, you have some districts who are now scrambling for delivering iPads and laptops. And, some districts just have a jump on, because you're proactive as opposed to reactive. So those are some of the decisions that admin should make. How can I be a benefit to my team, to my students, to my parents, you
And
never
spend
know.
the money wisely.
Spend the money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I was talking to a local pastor who talked about the fact that there is such a lack of access to technology in certain spaces in certain districts, and it's and even access to high quality internet in certain
Yes.
areas.
And it's
right?
so unfortunate.
So the fact that there are districts who are saying we have been, and it's so important that you hear this as parents, that they didn't go as a district 1-to-1 technology in March.
Correct.
It was something that they knew was like they had been building toward for a while, and so it's really important. And again, this is why, even from and this is a shameless throw in. This is why it's so important that we pay attention to what's happening on in our local elections, our city elections,
Yes.
because some of these bond elections and the things that are happening to pump money into our schools are the things that could have prepared our schools and education systems
Yes.
for moments like this. So I know everybody's getting worked up about what's going to happen in November in the White House.
Correct.
But pay attention to the government that's going to
Amen.
affect your house.
In your community.
In your
Yes,
community, in your city. Be paying close attention to who's on your school boards.
That's right.
Be paying close attention to the bond elections that come in your city, because if your child is in public school there, it's too important for you not to pay attention to. So the fact that your district had the foresight and the ability
Yeah.
to make that happen and put the resources there is so important, because it allows you to be ahead of the curve. So that's really cool. One parent posted that she and her kids are doing a spirit week
Yes.
to keep them motivated. So a favorite team T-shirt, jersey day, a hat day, crazy sock day,
Kudos.
That's so
Yes.
pajama
I love
day,
it. Yeah.
tie-dye outfit.
Awesome.
And so
That is awesome.
that's their quarantine spirit week.
That's
That's
awesome.
really cool, Amber. That's dope. So here's another question, and this is the one that's running everybody hot. You mentioned this as it relates to you seeing your babies off to high school.
Yes.
Right? They're these big transition years, right?
Yeah.
That last year, junior high, moving into high school year, or of course those seniors,
Oh.
2020, they're missing out on prom,
My heart.
the crossover, they're missing out on those crossover things, they're missing out on graduation. I don't know what districts are planning. Each district is thinking through graduation in their own way.
Right.
What are some solutions to that? Because these parents are hot, Jack.
Yeah.
They ready to call the news in March because they baby not getting a prom ticket or whatever it is. So, how do you, from your seat, in the district, deal with that? What is that like?
Well, my first question would be, what control does the district have over the pandemic that has
That's
taken
so real.
place?
There it is.
What does the school district, how can we even speak to what we are going through? We're all in this crisis together. So as parents, we have to be able to what word am I looking for? Own our children. And if your child is a graduate this year, hold a graduation ceremony for them. Make them feel special. What's the occupancy max? 10 people. Invite the most or the closest 10
That's
people.
really cool.
Create. I saw a father online that created a prom in
Yep.
his
Wow.
living room
Yes.
for his daughter. He rented a dress, bought her a corsage, set the living room up with the balls and what
That's
are
so
the disco
cool.
balls,
Yeah.
everything. So creative. You have to be creative,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, it's it's unfathomable. I mean, it's this. We're all in. No one has
Yeah.
experienced
Yeah.
anything like this before. I talked to my grandmother, who's 86 years old, and she said we've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
new.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but
It kind of is what it is. I was thinking
is.
today about seniors, about those, fifth going into sixth and eighth to high school. It makes for a great story.
Oh,
I
my.
mean,
Don't
who can
preach.
say that you
Your senior
graduated
year was the same as mine.
in a quarantine?
Absolutely. Now,
you know?
I do know that some districts are having, support of seniors. So you have people who are giving
Yes.
to one specific, adopting a senior and just not just showing them emotional love, but
Actual baskets.
baskets and
Yeah.
gifts, and if people are, their hearts are genuine, and if they are able to give at this time, because
a lot
unfortunately
going on,
it's a lot economically as well. But if you are fortunate enough to give, then that would be great, But
And really hone on what's important, your safety, your health. While we can't give you the experience of, oh my gosh, a prom, a graduation, and moving your tassel, like those are important. I don't want to downplay that, but thank God you're healthy. I would much rather see you be creative and do a prom at home than to have to view you
My goodness.
on Zoom because I can't go to your funeral. Or you go to the hospital and we can't be by your side.
we have to communicate
We
through a
like
glass window.
I feel for those people who have lost people in this time. Like, this is a horrible season.
And it's real.
It's real.
so real.
This is
Real.
some real stuff. And you really have to figure out what is important to you, what is important to your family, and pray about it. Like, when you feel those down times, there's going to be some down times. I mean, I was just chatting with some friends yesterday. We were all talking about how we felt in this season. And I surround myself with very strong women, but even the strongest, we're feeling the pressure. And so you got to encourage each other. That's the only thing we can do is stick really close to those people who are going to encourage you.
So I know, some of these seniors are really hurt. We're hurting with them. Our hearts are broken with
Yes,
them.
we
Those
are.
those transitioning into high school and parents are really frustrated. But I think it's really important to remember that ultimately we're all in this same boat together. And none of us forced this to happen.
Right.
It happened, and we all had to ride it out together. And so it's just important that we have grace for everybody, because again, nobody anticipated this. One district, one parent was really mad at their district, and they was ready to go and get the people on them because they were having some issues with senior fees or something like that, and they didn't know that the venue for the prom said we ain't giving the deposit back. So it's like, so now that. So everybody's walking through this. So you're frustrated for your child. The district's frustrated because of what's going on. The senior committee's frustrated because they can't. So there are so many moving parts, and it's important that we all have grace. I'll ask this last question, and then we'll wrap it up. Hey, Cousin Angie, what solutions are there for juniors who are unable to take ACT, SAT for their senior year to apply for colleges? Because colleges are waiving it for graduating seniors, but they've already tested. So then there's that group that's kind of coming that are juniors that were about to test that can't test, and now this is the time where they need to be doing their application and stuff like that, but they can't test. What type of solutions are there? That's a legit.
That's a great.
I would actually say, number one, don't let up on the studying. Make sure you continue to study, and contact your AP advisor for that campus. Those are the AP advisor would be, or either the dean of academics. They're updated constantly by Texas Education Agency, what we call TEA, on the newest and most recent information as far as testing is concerned. So it would be a really good idea to stay in close contact with. administration.
See?
And
AP
just like
advisors.
they've changed the AP testing this year, instead of it taking 4 hours, it is
an hour and a
now
half.
an hour and a half, one essay.
Really?
Very different. So you have to know, stay calm. Everything will work itself out. Stay in contact, stay calm.
Communication
and
is key.
Communication. And just know that everyone knows we're going through it. You know, TEA knows, the AP board knows, college board knows, colleges, they're scrambling, same as we are. So just know, like, stay in contact, do your research, and know what's going on. Don't look up and it's August and you don't know where you're going to
Right.
school.
That's so good.
You know, stay on top of it and stay on top of your students. You know, your children are going to need that push to keep up the good work, because you want to get in
Yeah,
college.
you
know,
can't fall back now.
You cannot fall back. You gotta stay committed to what you want.
And it goes back to that communication point, the very first thing. Like, if you stay in contact with the schools and just stay connected, a lot of those things will continue to work themselves out. And again,
themselves out.
Corona is serious, but Christ is sovereign. Your
Amen.
child's future is secure. It's going to be all right. Corona is taking, I mean, it is rough on all of us, but Jesus is still in control.
Amen.
Yes, he
So
is.
somehow or another, he's going to cause this to work out for the good of your child, for the
He
good of your
will.
student, for the good of your family. Everything's going to be fine.
Yes.
Because we placed our trust in God. Stay calm. Your baby's going to college. I know my cousin Angie submitted that question. Oh, Maya's going. You understand what I'm saying? See, she got it. So, but that is a great question. Thank y'all so much for
welcome.
taking
Thank
this
you for having
time to
us.
come on out of shelter in place and come in to hang out with me for a little while. I pray that you were encouraged by this episode of The Checkpoint. Feel free to share this video with other people who you know are dealing with this. I feel like we got a wealth of knowledge today. We got so much encouragement from what was shared, and hopefully some tips. So keep tuning in on Thursdays. We'll check in. Next week, we're going to have a really good conversation as well. So I want to make sure y'all are checked in to the Checkpoint next week. But Julie and Tavia, thank y'all so much for hanging out.
Thank you,
I
Pastor.
love you. And until next time, y'all be safe.